Om Jnana-timirandasya Kananjana Salakaya Chakrunalitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Privrajagacharya Astotra Sata Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Privrajagacharya Astotra Sata Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaura Premanande.
Hari Haribo. Thank you so much, Panchatattva Prabhu. And welcome to everyone for Sri Caitanya-caritamrta reading with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami and friends. It is Thursday, December 28th, 2023 in New York. And according to Maharaj's notes here, we are in Adi Lila of Caitanya-caritamrta, chapter 7, starting this evening with text number 108. Very glad you could be with us, Maharaj. Thank you so much. I've got several windows I have to get through before I can get to that part. So if someone else wants to start, that's fine with me.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Upanishad Sahita Sutra Kahidye Tattva Mukhya Britye Se Artha Parama Mahatva. Translation: the absolute truth is described in the Upanishads and Brahma Sutra, but one must understand the verses as they are. That is the supreme glory in understanding. Purport: it has become fashionable since the time of Sankaracharya to explain everything regarding the Shastras in an indirect way. Scholars take pride in explaining everything in their own way, and they declare that no one can understand the Vedic scriptures they declare that one can understand the Vedic scriptures in any way he likes. This any way you like method is foolishness, and it has created havoc in the Vedic culture. One cannot accept scientific knowledge in his own whimsical way. In the science of mathematics, for example, 2 plus 2 equals 4, and one cannot make it equal 3 or 5. Yet, although it is not possible to alter real knowledge, people have taken to the fashion of understanding Vedic knowledge in any way they like. It is for this reason that we have presented Bhagavad Gita as it is. We do not create meanings by concoction. Sometimes commentators say that the word Kurukshetra in the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita refers to one's body, but we do not accept this. We understand that Kurukshetra is a place that still exists, and according to the Vedic version, it is a Dharma Kshetra, or a place of pilgrimage. People still go there to perform Vedic sacrifices. Foolish commentators, however, say that Kurukshetra means the body, and that Pancha Pandava refers to the 5 senses. In this way, they distort the meaning, and people are misled. Here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms that all Vedic literatures, including the Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, and others, whether Shruti, Smriti, or Nyaya, must be understood according to their original statements. To describe the direct meaning of the Vedic literatures is glorious, but to describe them in one's own way, using imperfect senses and imperfect language, imperfect knowledge, is a disastrous blunder. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fully deprecated the attempt to describe the Vedas in this way. Regarding the Upanishads, the following 11 Upanishads are considered to be the topmost: Isha, Kena, Karta, Prashna, Mundaka, Mandukya, Taittiriya, Aitareya, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka, and Shvetashvatara. However, in the Muktikopanishad, verses 30 through 39, there is a description of the 108 Upanishads. They are as follows: Ishopanishad, Kenopanishad, Katopanishad, Prashnopanishad, Mundakopanishad, Mandukyopanishad, Taittiriyopanishad, Aitareyopanishad, Chandogyopanishad, Brihadaranyaka, Brahmopanishad, Kaivalyopanishad, Jabalopanishad, Svetashvataropanishad, Hangsopanishad, Aruneyopanishad, Garbhopanishad, Narayanapanishad, Paramahansopanishad, Amrita Bindupanishad, Nada Bindu Upanishad, Shiropanishad, Atharva Shikopanishad, Maitaranyan Upanishad, Maitrayanya Upanishad, Shotikyo, Kaushitaki Upanishad, Briyaj Jabal Upanishad, Nishinga Tapani Upanishad, Kalagni Rudra Upanishad, Maitreya Upanishad, Subala Upanishad, Churika Upanishad, Maintrika Upanishad, Sarva Saropanishad, Niralamba Upanishad, Sukha Rahasya Upanishad, Vajra Suchika Upanishad, Tejo Bindu Upanishad, Nada Bindu Upanishad, Jnana Bindu Upanishad, Brahma Vidya Upanishad, Yoga Tattva Upanishad, Atma Bodha Upanishad, Narada Parivra Jakopanishad, Trishikya Upanishad, Sita Upanishad, Yoga Chudabanya Upanishad, Nirvana Upanishad, Mandala Brahmanopanishad, Dakshina Murti Upanishad, Sarabhopanishad, Skandopanishad, Mahanarayana Upanishad, Advaya Tarak Upanishad, Rama Rahasya Upanishad, Rama Tapanya Upanishad, Vasudeva Upanishad, Mudgala Upanishad, Sandilya Upanishad, Pangala Upanishad, Bhikshu Upanishad, Mahad Upanishad, Shariraka Upanishad, Yoga Shika Upanishad, Turyatita Upanishad, Sannyasa Upanishad, Paramahamsa Privrajaka Upanishad, Malika Upanishad, Avyakta Upanishad, Ekakshara Upanishad, Purana Upanishad, Surya Upanishad, Akshu Upanishad, Adhyatma Upanishad, Kundika Upanishad, Savitri Upanishad, Atma Upanishad, Pashupata Upanishad, Param Brahma Upanishad, Avaduta Upanishad, Triparatana Upanishad, Triparata Panopanishad, Devi Upanishad, Tripura Upanishad, Kata Rudra Upanishad, Bhavana Upanishad, Hridaya Upanishad, Yoga Kundalini Upanishad, Bhasma Upanishad, Rudraksha Upanishad, Ganopanishad, Darshana Upanishad, Tara Sarapanishad, Mahavakya Upanishad, Panksha Brahma Upanishad, Pranagni Hotra Upanishad, Gopala Tapanya Upanishad, Krishna Upanishad, Yagyavalkya Upanishad, Varaha Upanishad, Satyayanya Upanishad, Hayagriva Upanishad, Dattatreya Upanishad, Garuda Upanishad, Kalya Upanishad, Jabalya Upanishad, Saubhagya Upanishad, Saraswati Rahasya Upanishad, Avrichya Upanishad, and Muktika Upanishad. Thus, there are 108 generally accepted Upanishads, of which 11 are the most important, as previously stated. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Tamrandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurum Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sorry for all the mistakes. That's quite a list. We have, of course, quotes that Srila Prabhupada's given us from Kenopanishad and Mundaka Upanishad and others. And of course, we have the Sri Isha Upanishad, which Srila Prabhupada made a full presentation of. Excuse me. So we can read references to the Upanishads throughout Srila Prabhupada's literatures, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srimad-Bhagavatam, Caitanya-caritamrta. In fact, the Upanishads are quoted by Lord Chaitanya and others in these books as well. So they're authorized Shastra. And as is being described here in the purport, one should take the direct meaning and not the indirect meaning. The direct meaning is described, and it's going to be further mentioned, I believe. Actually, I was just reading a little bit references to this. Maybe it wasn't in Antya-lila, Caitanya-caritamrta. Maybe it's in the succeeding verses, how taking the direct meaning is considered glorious. And the indirect meaning is how, and to give an idea of just how bad it is to take an indirect meaning of these literatures, the Shariraka Bhashya, of Sankaracharya, Sri Sankaracharya, is an indirect interpretation of the Vedanta Sutra, giving lots of indirect meanings. And it's so damaging that we are warned never to entertain even reading the Shariraka Bhashya because it's so misleading. And that even great devotees have sometimes fallen from their positions by entering into this indirect meaning understanding of the Shariraka Bhashya, of the Vedanta Sutra. So the warning is there. Of course, we'll hear later on how Lord Shiva was empowered to do this by the Supreme Personality of God as Shankaracharya, to present this indirect meaning, to cheat the atheists. That will be explained later, how he cheated the atheists with a deliberate purpose to at least bring them back to some recognition of the Vedic literatures as authorized. They had rejected it completely under the influence of Buddhist philosophy. So he was bringing them back with this step. And unfortunately, as Prabhupada describes at the beginning of this purport, it's become a fashion to just make things up, to take all kinds of indirect meanings from the Vedic literatures to suit one's own purpose, to stand out as a great philosopher, as it were, a great thinker, to screw out some meaning that is indirect, not direct. Therefore, Prabhupada gave us Bhagavad Gita as it is. The direct meaning of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita directly taken as a statement from the Supreme, as instructions by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, an actual place where an actual battle took place, where the Pandavas were actual persons engaged in that battle, and not allegories for the senses. None of that nonsense. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not some metaphor for something else, or some stand-in for impersonal Brahman, but directly the Supreme Person. And his evidence given is that so many people became Vaishnavas. They took Sarvadhamam Prityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja to heart. They took Bhaktyamama Vijananti Yavanyas Jasmi Tattvataha to heart. Whereas so many editions of Bhagavad Gita and so many presentations of Bhagavad Gita, what to speak of the English language, in the various Indian dialects and Indian languages, were presented and did no such thing. People did not become Krishna devotees as a result of reading Bhagavad Gita from those indirect formed texts on Bhagavad Gita. So what Prabhupada has done is momentous. He's given us the truth, whereas all others were giving some veiled representation of truth. You know, a wolf masquerading in sheep's clothing. Hare Krishna.
Jai Jai. Thank you so much, Panchatattva. Murai Gupta Prabhu says, Hare Krishna. Oh, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Well, just a thought.
Hare Krishna.
The word here is mukhya vritti, direct meaning. It comes from mukha, face. So in English we say face meaning, or face value. So the mukhya vritti is just a straightforward meaning, what the words say. As Prabhupada said, me means the speaker who's speaking. When Krishna says me, it means me, not the unborn beginnings within Krishna. So that's mukhya vritti, the direct meaning. Or Prabhupada sometimes says dictionary meaning, straightforward. And what we'll find as the alternative is gona vritti, which is the indirect meaning.
Murai Gupta Prabhu says, how did the Upanishads get their names? I have heard that some of them are due to the personality who spoke them, but at the same time, they were all spoken by Lord Brahma at the beginning of creation.
But there are different sages who are speaking at the, there are different sages who are speaking, and so their names are associated with at least some of the Upanishads. Just like the Bhagavatam is spoken by Vyasadeva, but then we have the sages of Naimisharanya and so on. Where we have, prayers by Queen Kunti, because Kunti is speaking, even though Vyasadeva is speaking the whole thing. So there are Upanishads associated with various sages. Or some of the Upanishads get their name just from the first words of the Upanishad. So the Ishopanishad, or sometimes it's called the Ishavasya Upanishad, because Ishavasya Midam Sarvam. So some of the Upanishads get their names that way.
Murai Gupta Prabhu says, thank you, Maharaj. Priyanka Mataji says, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that these scholars take the shelter of Lord Krishna, who is most famous, to propagate their agenda, their cheating propensities.
Yeah, because a book written by somebody or other, Vijay Sharma. Who's Vijay Sharma? Nobody knows Vijay Sharma. So when he writes a book, who cares about Vijay Sharma? But when it's Bhagavad Gita, spoken by Lord Sri Krishna, Bhagavan, then everyone's interested. So I'll put my philosophy into Krishna's book, and that way get a readership. So cheating, yes.
There's a comment you made in our class last week, Maharaj. You were speaking about how Sariputta Prabhu became very much convinced in Krishna consciousness by seeing the consequences of the Mayavad were so dark and so awful that gave him even more faith in the descending method of knowledge, and that's what Prabhupada seems to reinforce here. And he says this, any way you like that foolishness, and it has created havoc in the Vedic culture. I'm not sure about the audio cutting out, so I can't comment on that. I couldn't hear it cutting out.
Yeah, you were cutting in and out. That's what I was hearing. I wanted to know if
Oh, okay.
and you're still doing it a little bit.
It's better though. I dropped my video feed, and I think Guru Maharaj has dropped his video feed, maybe to help boost the signal.
Okay.
Maybe cut your video out too.
Sure.
Or only the person who's speaking has their video on.
Right.
We've all merged.
All right, so if there's more, Maharaj says, all is one in darkness. Hare Krishna.
Uh,
All right, so I'll read 109 unless there are more comments coming in, which there don't seem to be. Gauna Britye Yeba Bhashya Karila Acharya Tahara Shavane Nasha Haya Sarvakarya. Sripad Shankaracharya has described all literatures in terms of indirect meanings. One who hears such explanations is ruined. Text 110. Ganharnahika dosha Ishvar agyapana Gaunartha karila mukhya artha achadiya. Shankaracharya is not at fault, for it is under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that he has covered the real purport of the Vedas. Purport. The Vedic literature is to be considered a source of real knowledge. But if one does not take it as it is, one will be misled. For example, the Bhagavad Gita is an important Vedic literature that has been taught for many years. But because it was commented upon by unscrupulous rascals, people derived no benefit from it, and no one came to the conclusion of. Since the purport of the Bhagavad Gita is now being presented as, however, within 4 or 5 short years, thousands of people all over the world have become Krishna conscious. That is the difference between direct and indirect explanations of the Vedic literature. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Mukhya vritte se artha parama mahatva. To teach the Vedic literature according to its direct meaning without false commentary is glorious. Unfortunately, Sri Shankaracharya, by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, compromised between atheism and theism in order to cheat the atheists and bring them to theism. And to do so, he gave up the direct method of Vedic knowledge and tried to present a meaning which is indirect. It is with this purpose that he wrote his Shariraka Bhashya commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. One should not, therefore, attribute very much importance to the Shariraka Bhashya. In order to understand Vedanta philosophy, one must study Srimad-Bhagavatam, which begins with the words, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yatonvayat Iteratas Charteshva Vigyasvarat. I offer my obeisances unto Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, who is the supreme, all-pervading personality of Godhead. I meditate upon him, the transcendent reality, who is the primeval cause of all causes, from whom all manifested universes arise, in whom they dwell, and by whom they are destroyed. I meditate upon that eternally effulgent Lord, who is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and yet is fully independent. Bhagavatam 1.1.1. Srimad-Bhagavatam is the real commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Unfortunately, if one is attracted to Sri Shankaracharya's commentary, Shariraka Bhashya, his spiritual life is doomed. One may argue that since Shankaracharya is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, how is it that he cheated people in this way? The answer is that he did so on the order of his master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in the Padma Purana in the words of Lord Shiva himself. Mayavadam asachchastram prachchanang baudham uchyate mayaiva kalpitang devi kalo brahmana rupina brahmanascha rupang nirgunang vakshyate maya sarvasvang jagatopyasya mohanartang kalo yuge vedante tu mahashastre mayavadam avaidikang mayaiva vakshyate devi jagatang nashakaranat. The Mayavada philosophy, Lord Shiva informed his wife Parvati, is impious, asachchastra. It is covered Buddhism. My dear Parvati, in Kali Yuga, I assume the form of a Brahmana and teach this imagined Mayavada philosophy. In order to cheat the atheists, I describe the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be without form and without qualities. Similarly, in explaining Vedanta, I describe the same Mayavada philosophy in order to mislead the entire population toward atheism by denying the personal form of the Lord. In the Shiva Purana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead told Lord Shiva, Dvaparadav yuge bhutva kalaya manushadishu svagamai kalpitais cha janad vimukhan kuru. In Kali Yuga, mislead the people in general by propounding imaginary meanings for the Vedas to bewilder them. These are the descriptions of the Puranas. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that Mukhya Vritti, the direct meaning, is Abhida Vritti, or the meaning that one can understand immediately from the statements of dictionaries, whereas Gona Vritti, the indirect meaning, is a meaning that one imagines without consulting the dictionary. For example, one politician has said that Kurukshetra refers to the body, but in the dictionary, there is no such definition. Therefore, this imaginary meaning is Gonavritti, whereas the direct meaning found in the dictionary is Mukhya Vritti or Abhida Vritti. This is the distinction between the two. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that one understand the Vedic literature in terms of Abhida Vritti, and the Gona Vritti he rejects. Sometimes, however, as a matter of necessity, the Vedic literature is described in terms of the Lakshana Vritti or Gona Vritti, but one should not accept such explanations as permanent truths. The purpose of the discussions in the Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra is to philosophically establish the personal feature of the absolute truth. The impersonalists, however, in order to establish their philosophy, accept these discussions in terms of Lakshana Vritti, or indirect meanings. Thus, instead of being Tattvavada, or in search of the absolute truth, they become Mayavada, or illusioned by the material energy. When Sri Vishnu Swami, one of the four acharyas of the Vaishnava cult, presented his thesis on the subject matter of Shuddhadvaita Vad, immediately the Mayavadis took advantage of this philosophy and tried to establish their Advaita Vad, or Kevaladvaita Vada. To defeat this Kevaladvaita Vada, Sri Ramanujacharya presented his philosophy as Vishishtadvaita Vada, and Sri Madhvacharya presented his philosophy of Tattvavada, both of which are stumbling blocks to the Mayavadis because they defeat their philosophy in scrupulous detail. Students of Vedic philosophy know very well how strongly Sri Ramanujacharya's Vishishtadvaitavada and Sri Madhvacharya's Tattvavada contest the impersonal Mayavada philosophy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, accepted the direct meaning of the Vedanta philosophy and thus defeated the Mayavada philosophy immediately. He opined in this connection that anyone who follows the principles of the Shariraka Bhashya is doomed. This is confirmed in the Padma Purana, where Lord Shiva tells Parvati, Shinu Devi Pravakshyami Tamasani Yata Kramam Yeshang Shravana Matrena Patityang Jnaninam Api Apartang Shruti Vakyanam Darshaya Loka Garhitam Karma Svarupa Tyajyatvam Atracha Pratipadyate Sarvakarma Paribramkshan Naishkarmyang Tatra Chochyate Paratma Jivayor Aikyam Mayatra Pratipadyate. My dear wife, hear my explanations of how I have spread ignorance through Mayavada philosophy. Simply by hearing it, even an advanced scholar will fall down. In this philosophy, which is certainly very inauspicious for people in general, I have misrepresented the real meaning of the Vedas and recommended that one give up all activities in order to achieve freedom from karma. In this Mayavada philosophy, I have described the Jivatma and Paramatma to be one and the same. How the Mayavada philosophy was condemned by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers is described in Sri Caitanya-caritamrta, Antya Lila, 2nd chapter, verses 94 through 99, where Swarup Damodar Goswami says that anyone who is eager to understand the Mayavada philosophy must be considered insane. This especially applies to a Vaishnava who reads the Shariraka Bhashya and considers himself to be one with God. The Mayavadi philosophers have presented their arguments in such attractive, flowery language that hearing Mayavada philosophy may sometimes change the mind of even a Mahabhagavata or very advanced devotee. An actual Vaishnava cannot tolerate any philosophy that claims God and the living being to be one and the same. All right, Krishna.
Any questions, comments?
Certainly a thankless task for Lord Shiva to present this poisonous philosophy. Murai Gupta Prabhu says, Hare Krishna. Is the impersonalism mentioned in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna in chapter 12 the same as what Shankaracharya spoke?
I think Maharaj just cut out.
Yeah, his audio was cutting and then he muted himself, I think.
Oh, it appears to be essentially the same.
Panchatattva Prabhu says, it appears that Lord Shiva has performed this confidential duty with expert intelligence.
Yeah, from what I hear from scholars, like Shankaracharya's commentaries are elegant. Gita commentary on most points, it's clear. The language is, but then he comes to impersonalism part ways. So that's the he appears so good.
Seems like Maharaj's connection has been interrupted there.
Sorry. We wind up with impersonalism is between truth and living entity.
Panchatattva Prabhu says, like a philosophical Venus flytrap. It seems like nectar, then the trap closes. Maharaj gives a thumbs up. And Priyanka Mataji says, at one place, it is mentioned in the purport, Sri Shankaracharya, by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, compromised between atheism and theism in order to cheat the atheists and bring them to theism. Then, in the translation of the verse from Padma Purana, it is mentioned, quote, in explaining Vedanta, I describe the same Mayavada philosophy in order to mislead the entire population toward atheism by denying the personal form of the Lord.
Yes, Prabhu. So in this one, little bit doubt that at one place it looks like there was some class of atheist which had to be brought to atheism, so this philosophy was represented, and in another part it looks like it is to bewilder the atheist. So we can say Mayavad philosophy is for the atheist class of people.
Maharaj says in the chat that Srila Prabhupada seems to be presenting the matter from two different points of view. He does that a lot, Maharaj says.
So nobody can benefit by following this philosophy. Um, we can say it is for the atheist class, whoever is following the Mayavad.
Hmm.
There is no spiritual benefit that will be involved by following this philosophy, even though it is.
Sometimes Prabhupada said that. Go ahead. you know, Panchatattva's point is true, that
Put out again.
that he's that
We're not hearing
which
you,
is
Maharaj. You
practically
keep
the
dropping out.
same as shunya.
Yeah, Maharaj seems to have a very weak internet connection today, so I think we just lost him again. Just taking some points in the chat window while we're waiting for Maharaj to reconnect. Just to reiterate, Maharaj says that he sometimes presents things from two different points of view, so we take it in stride. And then Panchatattva Prabhu asks, does it mean that Shankaracharya, quote, brought them to theism by getting them of the Vedas? That my understanding. Maharaj may wish to comment further. And apparently I'm also dropping out, so. All right, Krishna.
Maharaj did reply via text. He said, so accepting the Vedas is theism,
Mm-hmm.
but rejecting the personality of Godhead is atheism.
So is Sharira Bhashya from Shankaracharya considered a Veda? Can be considered under Vedas? Like reading it may benefit somewhat. And I think we discussed in some previous discussion that if some sincere soul comes in touch with Mayavad philosophy, maybe, but if he's sincere at heart, he may come to devotional service as well at some stage.
I'm trying to remember where it was said that if you are exposed to Mayavad philosophy after you're exposed to devotional service, it's dangerous. In other words, if it's your introduction, you can overcome that bad introduction. But if you get into it after you've been exposed to devotional service, then it's dangerous. Does anyone remember that
No,
stipulation?
I don't remember that. But Maharaj did answer Priyanka by saying, slowly, slowly. In other words, they're approaching in that way. Their progress may be very, very, very slow. But I don't remember that. It's quite possible it's there, but I don't remember that in particular myself.
It's something I heard right at the very beginning. And maybe I'll ask around if nobody else knows what I'm talking about and see if I find the answer.
Mara's response to you, Tulsi, Prabhu, by saying, never heard that. Then he says, Srila Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita, Mayavad is troublesome at every step.
Mhm.
And at the end of the purport also, Srila Prabhupada says that it can change the mind of even a Mahabhagavat or very advanced devotee.
It's interesting. It does cause me to wonder, and I know it's purely speculation, but it causes me to wonder if the Mayavadis are saying the same thing about Vaishnava texts.
Why not? You degrade yourself by indulging in the sentimentalism.
Dr. Mishra did tell our Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, you cannot speak here.
Mhm.
Yeah. Fortunately, we have this 7th chapter of Adi Lila, Caitanya-caritamrta, as an answer to the Mayavadis in one chapter. And I would submit that the Mayavadis of Prakashananda Saraswati's caliber and his followers' caliber are not the garden variety Mayavadis today. These were very serious students of philosophy. Maharaj says, yes, Srila Prabhupada wanted this chapter given to all the Mayavadi leaders. Should we go on to the next verse, Dekendra Prabhu?
Sure. I don't know if I'll be able to read those. Maybe someone else can read them.
We have Sucharadev Prabhu. It would be text 111, right? Sucharadev, would you like to read text 111?
Yes, Prabhuji. ब्रह्म शब्दे मुख्य अर्थे कहे भगवाना सिद्धैश्वर्य परिपूर्ण अनूर्ध्व समाना. According to direct understanding, the absolute truth is the supreme personality of Godhead, who has all spiritual opulences. No one can be equal to or greater than him. This statement by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is confirmed in Srimad-Bhagavatam, Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. So the learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. The absolute truth is ultimately understood as Bhagavan, partially understood as Paramatma, and vaguely understood as impersonal Brahman. Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is opulent in all excellence. No one can be equal to or greater than him. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, where the Lord says, Mattah parataram nanyat kinchitasti dhananjaya. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. There are many other verses which prove that the absolute truth is in the ultimate sense is understood to be the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna.
Comments, Prabhu?
So, concluding the previous verses that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been saying, in this verse, the confusion of Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan has been settled by establishing Bhagwan as the supreme absolute truth, and then presenting authority from both Shruti and Smriti, establishing the personal form of Krishna as the supreme understanding, the highest understanding of the absolute truth.
Thanks, Prabhu. I like that Srila Prabhupada has categorized these realizations of the absolute truth in this way: ultimately understood as Bhagavan, partially understood as Paramatma, vaguely understood as the impersonal Brahman. That really is a nice summary description of the level of understanding of each of the three. Murari Gupta Prabhu says, it seems there is a category of innocent impersonalists, like the four Kumaras, as opposed to Mayavadis, who directly reject Krishna even after hearing about him. Maharaj replies, Srila Prabhupada never seems to make much of a point of that. Now, I remember this discussion coming up before too. That impersonalism is still impersonalism. Looks like we're reaching the end of our time. Akendra Prabhu?
Yes, sir. It does seem to be kirtan time.
Krishna Kanteya Prabhu, would you like to lead our closing kirtan? Would you be so kind? Maharaj says, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a staunch impersonalist, but he changed by the influence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Go ahead, Krishna Kanteya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Guru Das Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Ramsa, Prairaj Jagacharya Stotar Sata, Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Ramsa, Prairaj Jagacharya Stotar Sata, Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nandakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Savior of the world, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Prince Kaho, Sri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaur, Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Sri Radha Krishna, Gopal Gopinath Shamakun, Radhakun, Giri Govardhana Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dhamma Ki Jai, Mathura Dhamma Ki Jai, Navadvip Dhamma Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dhamma Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tosi Devi Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Saharinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Briha Madanga Ki Jai, Samabhe. All glories to the seminal devotees, all glories to the seminal devotees. Jai Sri Guru and Guranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai, Jai, Jai. Thank you so much, Krishna Konte Prabhu. Thank you, Maharaj, for being with us. Maury Gupta says, thank you, Maharaj, and all devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Panchatattva Prabhu.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Shri Caitanya-caritamrta ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami Maharaj and friends ki jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna.
Hopefully we'll be blessed with some better internet tomorrow.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Ekender Prabhu.